one's not.
No worries. Sorry.
That's so true. That's so true.
Like this is how I feel.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually.
And how are you gonna do that?
Really?
Good. If
Oh, yeah. I'm sure we'll look out that one. John, we're all here. So because you're all here.
it's not on there.
Are you leaving or something?
Yeah, I talked to him about it. I said that we would.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the West Goshen Township Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, July the 15th. To start the meeting, will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be aware this meeting is being live streamed on YouTube, and also the meeting may be audio or video recorded by people present in the room. Our first item of business is agenda item number 3. It's the opportunity for public comment. So if there's anybody here who has a question or a comment for the board or staff about an item that is not on the agenda, now is the time to take advantage of that opportunity. Is there anyone here with a question or comment? Yeah, Mr. Lyons?
Good evening, members of the board. Just here to provide a quick update regarding Forsyth Farm. I'm here representing myself, 1208 Eagle Road, not representing West Goshen Historic Commission. I was in attendance today to observe a court hearing in which Mr. Joseph Kravitz appeared for outstanding violations that were issued by West Goshen Township for failure to adequately maintain his property. And I witnessed the fact that he was 45 minutes late to the judge, and he, Ms. Shelby Smith and the lawyer did a tremendous job representing the township regarding this issue. There are 72 violations that they noted in the case. February 19th, March 27th, and April 8th, 2025. Each particular violation, $1,000 a day, and he is facing upwards of $72,000 in those fines as of today. So our group was in attendance to witness this, and Mr. Kravitz demonstrated a continued pattern of neglect and that lack of respect for the neighbors, and most importantly as well the judge. So we are deeply concerned about how his patterns of behavior are continuing, and we are noting that. The other point I did want to make briefly here is one regarding the powerful history that's emerging here. It recently came to my attention that Truman Forsyth, who owned the property in roughly from 1840 to 1880. He was actually a township supervisor, and he lived on the property. So that is a fascinating piece of history. It is connected to Underground Railroad and abolition history in this vicinity, and also connected to 20 Ellis Lane history. But thank you again for your continued efforts to work on hopefully a positive outcome to this, because we don't want to see this property destroyed. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Lyons. Is there anyone else here with a question or comment under public comment? Again, this is about any item this is about any items that would not be on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Would you mind coming up to the mic? If you wouldn't mind stating your name. And
Yeah, I'm Harry Travis. I live in Bailey Pike, which is right across the street from the West Goshen Shopping Center. I have a couple concerns about the traffic situation. The new entrance, the one without the light in front of the bank, you know where the Chick-fil-A, where Target is, that entrance there. So many people are coming out and making a left-hand turn, or left-hand, coming toward this way, where it's only one way, but you need to go that. And there is a sign that has a circle with a, like no turn sign. But, technically, when you get up there, there's no sign down below that I know of. So some people get up there and I think, uh-oh, I can only make a right. But they're going to make a left. And it's a lot of the young kids actually like coming from LA Fitness because, they don't care. So, people are trying to get out of there and traffic backs up anyway and causes, because they come out anyway and, ready to cause an accident. And then, they should do something about that. I know this, and with Target coming next month, it's going to be really, really hectic over there. And the second one is the traffic light. I live right near the entrance of 202 and Pellet Pike, which is going along the north or south entrance. And it seemed like they readjusted the lights because it seemed like people coming off 202, that light is green longer, and then the one up the street where the entrance of the shopping center is, that seemed like it's less. So it's hard for us neighbors, my neighbors, to get out of our driveways because, unless you live there, you don't realize that. Especially if you want to go across and go toward into town. Sometimes we take our lives in our hands, but we're used to it. So that's what I just want to bring up about the traffic situation, and I know they might be working on something over the shopping center because they still have another month to go before Target opens. But I just want to bring it to you guys' attention, and so we don't have accidents and people getting upset and stuff like that. So that's all I have to say. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Travis.
Okay, thank you.
While you're here, let me ask the chief, have you had any rash of complaints or more problems at that exit entrance? Good. Yeah. I don't know the...
Anyway, but you really can't sit there and watch people.
I don't know if
And if
the...
you're not around, that's why they don't do it.
I don't know if the design's complete for that entrance that you're talking about, exit that you're talking about. Maybe there is some, I'd have to look at the plans with Brian.
Mr. Chairman, I believe as it relates to the entrance near Chick-fil-A, I believe that is complete. I believe that's the area you're talking about, like the pork chop and people turning there. I know that that's posted, all traffic must turn right.
Yeah.
It's like the chief said, they'll handle this appropriately. As it relates to the traffic signal, if I'm remembering my most recent conversation with Brian correctly, I believe it is still under the shopping center's permit because they're still doing work to it associated with the land development applications. I don't think that's been closed out yet
So you're talking about the traffic signal just at the shopping center, or its connection to the one at 202 ramp exit?
The one at the shopping center, not the 202 ramp. I don't know anything about that one.
Yeah, this light is longer.
Okay.
See what, will staggered when you get out.
We can,
Now it backs up.
and you're talking about the light when you're like going onto 202 south.
Yes, feel like that's green longer and coming from our houses.
I'd be happy to have our signal contractor look at it and make sure it's in compliance with the permit that's
So like
issued
it's
for it.
changed, or maybe they changed the one up the street on front.
Okay, so we have an action to follow with Sergeant Greaser about the traffic signal, and also,
Generally, those go through public works.
They're all happening.
Yeah.
I don't.
well, at least we get an update on the whole in and out of the complex, the shopping complex as well, see whether there's more work to do on that.
It would be nice if they just shut that entrance coming out of Chick-fil-A, and they just make it one way going in, and everybody has to leave, they have to go to the light.
Yeah.
It's safer.
I'll have, as it relates to the signals, I'll talk to Brian when he returns.
Can you also ask him about signage at that exit as well? If it's not clear or you get to the exit and it's,
Too late.
well, maybe we can ask for more signage.
That's
So
what
say,
I'm
put a sign way before there so they
Yeah,
know,
well,
once they get up
review
there.
the
that it's
signage.
locked.
We can-
Don't care.
In advance.
Yeah, I don't think it's a signage issue, I think that people just don't care, like
Yeah.
you said, I think they're kind
We
of
had-
turn left
Oh, we
anyway.
need-
We had a similar issue at Popeyes after that was redeveloped, and we did update our ordinances accordingly related to that. I don't know if that's a similar situation here, but I would defer to the chief and the traffic enforcement kind of do their thing, and then we can make adjustments accordingly. As it relates to the traffic signals, I'll ask Mark for the one at 202 and Paoli Pike, have him get in touch with our signal contractor and make sure it's still operating under the provisions of the permit. And I'll talk to Brian about the signal at the shopping center.
Great.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for raising the issue. Is there anyone else with a comment, public comment? Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joseph Catanacci. I'm from West Goshen, and I've been having an issue with the trash collection, mostly the commercial dumpster service. I live over off of 640 Snyder Avenue. There's a small industrial, and the backside of that is zoned residential. And there's probably 7 different companies that service it: JK, Republic, JP Mascaro. They come in there between 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 4:30, and it's very disruptive. I've been to court within the last probably month for JK because they were summoned. They didn't show up for the court, so the fine stood. But it's just don't know how to put an end to it.
What's the address for this occurring?
640 Snyder Avenue.
Is that your address or the commercial
No, that's the
property?
industrial. That's the
Okay.
industrial park's address.
And, sir,
This is a video from my backyard at 4:30. I mean, it's usually like Tuesday through Thursday, but it's just very disruptive.
so, what I can tell you, so, sir, can you give me the spelling of your last name just for the record, please?
Sure, CATENACCI.
Okay. So as it relates to trash collection, our noise ordinance does permit trash collection to occur at 6 a.m., so an hour earlier than our normal noise ordinance provisions, but under no circumstances can they be collecting it at that time. So what we can do is we can send a notification to the property owner at 640 Snyder Avenue and letting them know, and the police do enforce the noise ordinance. They take it very seriously, and we can enforce it accordingly.
I've met them over there numerous times, but those guys are in so fast. They told me to call 911. I've met them over at the industrial center. They're in and out so fast. It's hard to catch them. But I was told by Officer, I can't remember her name right now. She's a traffic
Officer Ash?
Officer Ash. She's the one that I went to court. She asked me if I would go to court, and she told me it was they weren't allowed in the township before 7
That's, the
for
ordinance.
commercial. I thought I read 7 as well.
The ordinance, I believe, I can double check it. The ordinance, I
You
believe,
know,
says-
6 o'clock is fine. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning is pretty ridiculous.
I believe it just says municipal solid waste, but I can just verify that real quickly. But regardless, there are provisions associated with that, associated with that, so we can notify the property owner accordingly.
That'd be perfect, I appreciate it.
Just so I understand it, these are coming in making, these trucks are making trash collection, is that what they're doing?
Yeah, they're picking up dumpsters.
Okay, yeah.
You know, they're shaking them like tin cans. I mean, they're loud. They got the backup beeper. That's loud.
Now, you mentioned several companies, there's several companies that are doing this, coming in here?
Well, there's JK, there's JP Mascaro, there's Republic, and there's a few dumpsters that aren't marked. So I would imagine there's 6 or 7 companies that come in there. It'd be nice if it was just one company and you just had to, deal with it.
Now, is this every week,
Yes.
so every week? This
Today,
is good, okay.
today, last week, it's every week.
On the same day or various
You know,
days?
it's typically Tuesday through Thursday.
So under our noise ordinance, it does say municipal trash trucks may operate between the hours of 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. every day of the week. So municipal trash is any sort of trash collection. It doesn't differentiate between residential and commercial. In our
Like I
ordinance.
said, 6 is fine, but,
But yeah, your point's well taken. It doesn't say 4:30.
Right. Yeah, I got them on video at 3:05.
Okay.
So and there's probably about 45, 50 houses that surround that.
The solicitor is saying to me that we might be able to issue a citation based on the video. So would you have an issue sending them to myself and the chief?
I would not. I actually called Mascaro because they're the one, and I don't want to cause anybody any financial burden because it's probably going to wind up on the driver. But, that's what happened with JK. I called them, they were very nice, oh, it won't happen again. Then it kept happening, so then Officer Ash issued a summons. So, but I would say let them go. If I see them back there again, I'll give you the video.
Is the property owned, is it like a flex space, that there's tenant spaces, that each tenant has its own trash collector coming, is that what it is?
It is,
Is that what it
there's
is?
probably 6 or 7.
6 or 7, I mean, I think letters to the tenants or owners of the individual units to remind them of the ordinance, because they're the ones that are contracting with these private haulers, and,
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Yeah, no, but they
technically
don't,
could cite them both.
but they don't decide when they come and get the trash.
They can tell them not to come, they give them permission to come, they can
But
tell.
wouldn't we tell them not to, wouldn't we contact the, so I also live right next to a commercial development, and we've also had this issue in my neighborhood.
Right.
And when I brought it to, I guess it was Chris at the time, this was a couple years ago, I had the zoning officer contact the actual trash company, and we haven't heard it since.
I think we should
They
do
stopped.
Do both? Yeah, why not?
I think the notification, kind of building off what Kristen says, I think the notification, we start with the owners of the like the individual owners of the complex, and we find out who's actually collecting it, and then we contact the haulers from that
Yeah,
point.
find out who's collecting it, definitely.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have that information.
Sure. Well, I know Mascaro's told me it was Signal Service that's over in that development.
Okay.
That's their service in their dumpster.
Okay. But we could find the owner information for these individual units if it's available.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let us know when it's occurring, and we'll take the appropriate action.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Is there anyone else for the public comment? Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 4. This is a discussion regarding the application that will be coming before the zoning hearing board. It's application number 13/2025 for 849 WCP LLP for the property at 847-849 Westchester Pike, seeking a variance from section 8472.m of the West Goshen Township zoning code, or in the alternative, a reinstatement of a prior ZHB decision, which is variances from section 8416B1 and section 8415E1 to construct a multi-family dwelling unit. Shelby, we have the zoning officer as our introduction for the board, and obviously we have somebody here, so welcome, sir. If you wouldn't mind telling us your name?
Yes, Matthew Danucci. I'm here on behalf of Senya Isaiah, who is the principal of 849 Westchester Pike LLC.
Thank you.
And Mr. Isaiah is here.
Good evening.
Good evening, welcome, thank you. All right,
Before the board this evening is a discussion regarding application number 13-2025 before the zoning hearing board. The subject property is 847-849 Westchester Pike and is located in the R4 zoning district. The applicant, 849 WCP LLP, is requesting a variance from section 8472M of the township's zoning ordinance In summary, 8472M is the expiration of decisions made by the zoning hearing board. By way of background, the applicant previously received a special exception from section 8415E1 in order to construct a 4-unit multifamily dwelling unit in the R4 zoning district, and a variance from section 8416B1 as the combined acreage is less than the required 1 acre. The zoning hearing board granted the requested relief in a decision dated March 21st, 2021. As noted in the narrative provided, the applicant did not proceed forward with the submission of the land development application in 2021 due to various reasons. The applicant is prepared to move forward with the plans as previously presented, which are unchanged. In the alternative, the applicant is requesting the 2 approvals that were previously granted to be reinstated. For clarification, should approvals be granted, even though the original decision was dated in 2021, they would still have to comply with the township's current stormwater management and SADO ordinances. The application was not reviewed by the planning commission as there was a lack of a quorum at their July 12th meeting.
Okay. So, Ms. Smith, is this, for the board this evening, this application is going to go to the zoning hearing board. They're going to make the decision around this request, correct? So
Correct.
the board you're looking for this evening is just to say whether we have any issues with the application.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And with respect to if this reinstatement of the previous CHB decision is granted by the zoning hearing board, have we had legal counsel on whether that means it would have to comply with current ordinances or?
Well, the zoning part of it does not. I don't think anything's changed from the zoning perspective. They just haven't filed a land development plan yet. So what Shelby's saying is that when they go to file their land development plan, the ordinances in effect as of that date apply.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. All right, so would you like to say a few words on behalf of the applicant?
Well, yes, I can do that, but Ms. Smith pretty much,
Summed it up?
She really did.
Okay.
The bottom line is that, to my understanding, the zoning code has not changed at all with regard to the provisions that we originally sought relief from. Accordingly, we are seeking a variance from 84-72M, which is the provision for the time to file building permit, et cetera, after the relief is granted. The packet that was handed up does contain the order and the findings of fact, conclusions of law that the board came to, or that the zoning board came to back in 2021. I think that's fairly informative and should give you confidence in hopefully giving my client a recommendation of yes to the zoning hearing board. So I don't know if you have any particular questions for myself or for the builder, but as for why they didn't build at that time, I think it was approved in, was it April of 2021?
June 2020.
So if you'll recall, at that time, we were still sort of in the pandemic, and that had a rather drastic effect on the price of building materials at that time. In addition to that, Mr. Isaiah's partner, his wife had a medical issue that took his attention away from the project for a protracted period of time. And then at some point after that, Mr. Isaiah himself had a medical issue. But they're ready, willing, and able to see this project through at this time. So that's why they're back before you, asking for this relief.
Yeah, thank you for the information. So, board members, do you have any questions?
No, I propose you just stay neutral.
I have one question actually. With respect to the zoning hearing board, assuming that you've asked for 2 approaches here, if they went with the approach of reviewing the relief that you've requested, could you explain to me, given that the fact that it's less than 1 acre, what is determining the number of apartments that you can build on this? 4 is the answer that you have on the proposal, but is that meeting all the other requirements? It's just less than 1 acre. Are you meeting the requirements with the?
It is less than 1 acre after the required easements are backed out of the parcel. So
Okay.
it's what's the acreage? After?
0.8.
Well, it's over 1.2 acres, I believe, and I can't quite read it in the bottom of that, but let me see if I can do it here.
I have it here somewhere.
But the easements took away some and it resulted in a smaller lot.
Okay.
And that's what the zoning hearing board took into consideration at the time.
Yeah, the finding of fact says,
Limited it to 4 units only.
Okay.
finding of fact 7 says the property is 1.119 acres, but 0.783 when you have to net out the rights of way. So I think that's what causes the reduction in the area.
Got it.
And with respect to the stormwater and the grading change, if there are any changes in fact, they would have to be complied with, and we would be prepared to do that, because at the time we didn't do it. And I'm not sure that there have been any changes since then. But even if there are any changes, we would be complying with the current regulations.
There was a new stormwater ordinance adopted by the township, I believe, in 2020, was it 2023?
And I believe West Goshen was the first township in the state of Pennsylvania to adopt the stormwater code back then in 2013, was it?
That was the first one.
First township in the state.
Okay. Good. Well, thank you for your information. I don't hear any other questions from the board. So, board members, are we just allowed to proceed to ZHB, and we have a new position?
Yes.
Okay, so, all right. Well, good luck at the ZHB, and we'll see how they rule for you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
May we be excused?
Mr. Chairman, that application will be heard on July 28th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is item number 5, which is a discussion regarding a request to amend the West Goshen Township zoning ordinance to include limited distilleries as a permitted use in the applicable zoning districts where microbreweries and brewery pubs are currently permitted. And Chris, this is with you.
Mr. Chairman, before the board this evening is a request to amend the township zoning ordinance in order to permit limited distilleries as a use permitted in the zoning districts where microbreweries are currently permitted, which includes the C2, I1, I2, and I3 zoning districts. The township currently does not have provisions or a definition for distilleries similar to the ones that exist for microbreweries. Representatives from Cutter and Cannon Spirits, one of whom is here this evening, have submitted a request to amend the zoning ordinance in order to permit this use in the aforementioned districts. We provided the information outlining the proposed definition for this use, which does appear to align with the requirements of the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. Additionally, the applicant for this particular application is looking to open a facility on Carter Drive in the same general area as Fonte Brewing, which is located in the I2 Light Industrial Zoning District. The request was reviewed by the Land Planning Committee at their meeting on July 8th, where it was recommended that an amendment to the zoning ordinance be adopted for this use. If the board authorizes the preparation of an amendment to the zoning ordinance, it will follow the course of review for a land use ordinance amendment, which would include a review by the Township's Planning Commission and the Chester County Planning Commission. And there is a gentleman from the company here to answer any questions that the board may have.
Very good. Thank you, Chris. So is that you, sir?
Yes, it is.
Would you mind introducing yourself?
My name is Matt Malott.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I'm going to put up a rendering that they presented of their at the Land Planning Committee of their proposed operation.
All right, and this was reviewed at the Land Planning
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Committee? Yeah.
And it was the recommendation was unanimous.
Okay. So does the board have any questions about this particular request?
Now, I want to ask some questions, or some of the duplicative from the Land Planning Commission. But could you explain the difference between a limited distillery and a microbrewery?
Slightly different in process.
Would you mind using the microphone, sir?
There is an extended process that takes the alcoholic beverage as a microbrewery would have it, and then we distill it into a spirit. But other than that, the process is pretty much the same.
And with the limited distillery, you're making whiskey, spirits,
Yes, whiskey, rum,
so the higher alcohol content?
yes.
Could this be considered a hazardous operation?
Not at the level that we're doing.
And can you explain that, why that would be?
The volume is under the 120 gallons that the NFP rates as hazardous.
Are there any other measures that have to be taken above and beyond a microbrewery that being a limited distillery, given what you do, you have to take?
There's, not safety-wise. Our process is sealed until it comes out at the end of the still. There is no vapors that come off. Everything is condensed into a higher proof alcohol.
So if I understand, so you guys are looking to move into the Carter Drive area, right?
Yes.
You're like behind Levante Brewing.
Yep.
You're gonna go in, you're gonna change some of the interior, but you're not gonna do a whole lot of demo stuff, right? I mean, it's mostly retrofitted.
Right, it's just changing a couple of walls. We're expanding the bathroom so that it's ADA compliant. It was already set up with, I think it was a cleaning company before. They had some offices. The offices all had half walls, and we're just kind of fusing those half walls where we're gonna have a little tasting area.
And so what does the business model look like? What can people expect from seeing you go in and?
You'll be able to taste any of the alcohols that we make there. Anything produced or any drinks that are made there all the alcohol has to be made on site by federal law. It's, as far as another difference between this and a microbrewery, this is highly regulated by the federal government and Pennsylvania state government.
So you're gonna have to meet a bunch of
Yes.
requirements to even be able to operate this kind of facility.
Yes, and we're monitored by the TTB, which is the federal agency.
But it's unclear, you cannot sell the finished product in a bottle for takeout.
Yes.
You can do that.
Yes, and we're limited to how
What's-
much of that we can sell. We can sell up to 3 bottles per visit by Pennsylvania law.
Okay, are you planning to sell wine, beer, or other Pennsylvania-made spirits? No.
It wouldn't be permitted by
We
your
would-
license, would you?
by the license does not allow.
The license does not allow it.
So would there be mixed drinks associated with this, or would you have to sell it?
No, there are mixed drinks allowed
Oh, there are now, okay.
by state law and federal law.
So it'd be like a bar?
Yeah,
kind of.
yes, could be. That's not really the plan. The tasting of the alcohol so that people know what it is that they're buying. Since we're not a brand that people will know.
Okay, but you will for like mixed drinks?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to, Ms. Camp, you said that the license doesn't allow sales of wine, beer, and other Pennsylvania-made spirits.
I mean, I'm asking, I don't know that.
I think it does, the PLCB
Well, why would
limited
they
this to a
sell
license.
other-
I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, no, meaning that they can only sell up to 3 bottles per visit per person, right?
Yeah,
For offsite.
by the federal rules, everything that we sell that has alcohol in it there, we have to make.
Is there any limit by the PLCB on the size of the tasting room? So can you have it big, could you expand it if you wanted to, or is there a limit on the size?
The size, well, this size is limited by the amount of space we
Yeah.
have, but not that I know of. I've seen some big distilleries in Pennsylvania, so,
Have you secured financing for this project?
yes.
Okay.
What about parking?
We have access to, I think there's over 100 parking spots, but
Levante takes up a lot of those.
not out back.
Okay.
They have their parking is in the front of theirs. We are there's 2 rows of parking between the back of Levante and where we are.
Thank you.
Are those parking spaces assigned to the individual units, or is it
No.
just a
There's-
first come, first served?
A few parking spots that are assigned to each unit. The rest of them are just first come, first served.
Any other questions from the board?
What about signage? Where would you have signage advertising this? Would it be,
The development itself does not allow signage other than in the windows. So, yeah, we can't have any big neon signs that we can't have, but all we have is window signage.
okay.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, can I ask
Yeah.
one question?
Mhm.
Just because I went to an event a couple of years ago, you're not planning to have any kind of like events like weddings or anything like that? Because I went to a wedding at a distillery like 3 years ago.
But we're not that size.
Okay. I didn't
It
think
would be
so.
very, very small, but.
Any other questions? Is there anybody in attendance who has a question? There's not just the opportunity for you to ask a question. Very good. So, board, we're looking for, let's see, is the board willing to recommend that we amend the zoning ordinance to adopt the limited distillery as a permitted use by right in the zoning districts C2, I1, I2, and I3 zoning districts?
This is just to approve the preparation of the minutes,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, John.
Second.
Here we have the motion. Is there a comment on the motion from anyone in attendance?
So
Steve?
where else will this apply to the township? What other?
All the zoning districts.
Westchester Pike, you know, like where the 5 Points Wawa is and the Spaz.
Yeah.
But there are other pockets, but that's just one for example.
The C2 is not the commercial district that abuts neighborhoods, correct?
Don't
I think that's C1.
So here's our zoning map. So the C2 is in the brown area right here.
Can you zoom in a little bit, Chris?
Unfortunately, I can't. So the C2 is the brown area. I'm sorry, I don't know how to.
Yeah.
I can't zoom.
You can just tell us where it is,
So
the street-wise.
So the C2 is here, that's like the West Goshen Shopping Center, I believe. So it does abut the residential areas here and here, but I believe that is 5 Points Road right there. So it's the C2 district, and then the I districts are the dark purple here, which is I2. Also here, which is along 202. I3, which is in the Walmart Street area. And
Is it Metro Drive?
I believe so, yes,
Yeah.
but I don't know which one. And I1, which is this area right here, which I believe includes like the airport, things like that.
Yeah.
But these are all districts where the microbreweries and brewery clubs are already allowed.
Correct.
My only concern is that this is going to affect residential areas. Traffic, noise, if somebody else comes along and says, I want to build a big distillery.
This is also asking for the terminology of a limited distillery, which limits the amount of gallons per year that you can make.
It's basically this limited distillery, it's this kind of tasting room concept and sales, you know.
Can we limit it just to the I2 or the industrial area that Monte's in now?
No, because, well,
Would-
the microbreweries are allowed in all of those areas. And
Yeah,
this isn't that different of a use.
But we could limit it.
Yeah, but why would we?
Yeah, I'm just saying, could. I don't like the districts that are like the Wawa on South, the Wawa on Parkway. The issue with that being close to the residential neighborhood. Where this particular location is not a problem for me personally because of where it is. But by permitting a wide, this application in all these other districts, it might be a problem with some folks who are about a potential future competitor to you, for example.
Not to complicate.
No, I mean, I'm looking at you to answer
I
the question,
don't
it's
think
really
that-
for the board.
I don't think that the state allows it in commercial areas, it's industrial areas only.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything mistake that the zoning is handled by you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see this as a use, especially because it's a limited distillery that's going to produce the kind of traffic or response that
Yeah.
we're talking about. So, I mean, we have a liquor store in West Goshen Shopping Center that gives out tasting samples.
What are your hours going to be? Generally, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday evening, and then Saturday from probably noon to 5.
Okay, any other questions from anyone in attendance? All right, we have a motion, so we're ready to take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0.
Sean, can I say something while you're talking about this? So in addition to now defining it and allowing the districts, there is a section that was specific to give specific standards for brewery pubs and microbrewery facilities. So I didn't know it's 845726. So I know the applicant didn't ask you, but I would ask the board if you want, when the ordinance is prepared, I would think we would use these same similar standards. For example, they say that they're permitted to sell all products and merchandise that they're authorized to sell pursuant to their liquor license. They have to comply with all the parking requirements for an eating and drinking place. They may have outdoor dining and seating, but then there's a specific section that deals with outdoor dining and seating it refers you to. They may provide tours. No exterior display or sale of retail merchandise shall be permitted outside of, in this case, it's the brew pub. Any signs installed have to comply with the township sign regulations, and they have to obtain all requisite licenses from the LCB, Chester County Health Department, and Department of Code Enforcement. So I would suggest that those similar, obviously changed over to be for limited distilleries. If we're looking at the uses being similar, that those would also carry over. I just wanted to make sure the board felt the same way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would recommend we add that the federal agency that you mentioned that regulates it, so we include that as well.
Okay. Great. And are they drafting it or who's drafting it?
My thought was you would draft.
But that's fine. That's easy. It's not going to be hard. Okay. Do you have a card? Well, I have your information. Okay, here you
I don't know.
go. But is it on? Is it?
All my information should be on there.
Got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so you'll draft it and then it'll come back to the board for advertisement, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll advertise it and it'll go through that process.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 6. Discussion and possible approval of resolution number 24, 2025, granting preliminary final subdivision and land development approval for an application at 820 East Washington Street, proposing the development of a new automobile repair facility in a second building on the site. Okay.
Good evening, Andrew Stoll, on behalf of the applicant. Chris, if I could presentation. This may be a application or project that you're already familiar with. It started some years ago. The property is located at 820 East Washington Street. It's in an industrial park. So you just saw the slide before that was the actual parcel. You'll see to the east is an already built out industrial building. To the west is just an empty lot. It's all one contiguous property. The property was initially used for kind of boat repair, machinery type of repair use. The applicant had purchased it. It came before you some time ago, initially proposing, if you can go to the next slide.
Next one after this.
Oh, the next one after that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The building addition. So right is where my highlighter is now. That's the existing building, and what we proposed was just a large addition off of it. There is already service being taking place in here, and there's some office space. The applicant has a CO for that space. The addition was proposed to be additional service and storage. Some time has elapsed, and as you heard from one of the initial agenda items, the times have changed, so the project has changed since we previously got preliminary final approval. And if you go to the next one. What's proposed before you now is a different standalone building. So what we have is, again, the existing building that would be used for service and storage. The applicant is, this site is going to be affiliated with McLaren of the main line. So this is used for light service and office space, and the proposed new building would be used just for inventory storage, so where vehicles would go to be stored. I showed the aerial before because this is a remote location. You may recall employees will not come to, or I'm sorry, customers will not be coming to and from this site. It's a different type of service with McLaren's. It would just be employees going to and from. One thing to highlight is that with the site that you saw, we're actually, the initial proposal proposed to reduce the impervious coverage. This proposal that's now before you for consideration further reduces the impervious coverage. The Planning Commission had recommended approval of this application with very little questions, especially I would think, because up here where I'm highlighting now is going to be a permeable surface contributing to the reduction in impervious surface coverage. I think that this board had previously granted a kind of more expanded development, so this before you was a more limited development of that, this iteration. So we're here for preliminary final approval of this plan. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you. Just from my understanding, did you The planning commission reviewed this on June 10th, correct?
That's correct, yep.
Thank you. So board, do you have questions related to this application?
I do have a couple. So there's not going to be any maintenance that's going to be done on this facility at all?
There is maintenance in this existing building. It's light service and there's a few bays, but don't think your typical kind of car dealership where there's 1,000 cars going to and from traffic-wise, but there is going to be light service in the existing building. And there's already a CO for that.
Will there be any underground storage tanks for the waste, oil waste, or any hydraulic lifts, or any tanks associated with the hydraulic lifts?
They're already in place in the existing building, so there'll be nothing additional in the new building.
In the maintenance building?
Correct.
Okay, it's already there right now.
And Andrew likely covered the fact that this is very low volume.
Okay, how about filling the cars with gas?
No, that will not be done there.
No, okay, how about car washing as far as the waste associated?
That's a good question, and we have a mobile system that comes and takes care of it.
And what about the discharge from the water? Where will that
That's
go?
typically within the self-contained, so we have a portable system. Now, there will obviously be minimal runoff, but these are very expensive collected cars where they're usually sprayed and wiped down with diapers. They're not, you can't visualize a Jeep or a pickup truck coming in to be cleaned. These are very expensive widgets, ranging from 100,000 to 30 million. So so there's not much in that way going on.
Can you just remind me, what did we approve last
So if
time?
you go back to the last plan, this was a larger building addition. So what we had in mind was this is the existing building, and this was the current parking lot. This was an addition, and then these spaces up here in this area was to be permeable surface. So what we've done is we've decided that we don't really need what we proposed initially. So we've reduced the, just called intensity of the development.
The size of the proposed building has been
The
reduced?
size of the proposed building, yes. So you can even see it just from the comparison of going back and forth between the plans. This addition is significantly smaller than the prior building addition. And that's this drive aisle here is really what separates it. So it's almost like treating it as almost like two different lots, almost visually at least.
The resolution says that the first plan approved was for a 17,227 square foot addition, and that the new proposal is for a 14,286 square foot building, a separate building.
Same use, same concepts, just different dimensions.
So it's about 3,000 square feet smaller.
Okay, any questions? I have a couple of questions. So the parking that's shown here, is that what you have determined is needed for your business, or is it have you got spaces in there that is intended to meet our requirements from an ordinance perspective?
Yeah, so good question. It's the latter. We don't anticipate, there's very few employees that are going to be here, and very few, as I mentioned, there's not going to be customers going to and from. This just is intended to comply with your ordinance.
Okay. Then our professional engineers report to our township engineer. It mentions a question related to the purpose of yard drain number 1, which is in the permeable paver area to the right of the building there. What was the purpose of that drain?
The question was the drain into what size of the building?
It's yard drain number 1, which is between the two buildings. I think it's shown there, right
between here.
If you just stop right there, a little higher, go higher, right there to the right. In that area, in the area you said was a kind of an access road down there, just keep going to a little bit higher. That above it is yard drain number 1. Yeah, that is a permeable area. So what is the purpose of that yard drain?
I do have the applicant's engineer.
Oh, good.
You have a good answer.
I just like the opportunity to speak. Good evening. My name is Jake Tackett, T&M Associates.
Would you mind just using the microphone just so people can hear you?
For the project. The purpose of yard drain 1 is to facilitate runoff from the impermeable surface just south of where the yard drain 1 will be located.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose of the permeable paving is not actually to retain or manage stormwater runoff. It is simply to comply with cover requirements to further reduce impervious coverage, and also to comply with the floodplain ordinance that was originally approved as part of the first land development application. The yard drain will actually collect the runoff, the minimal runoff between the two buildings, and drain it to the rear of the site where it currently drains today. So the purpose of it is to maintain the drainage divide that exists on site today.
Okay, and then the stormwater management, where that drain goes to, it doesn't go direct to the creek. Is there a trench or some kind of infiltration there?
That is correct. The stormwater management measure that was employed as part of the original development has been unchanged from the original plan to the amended final. It acts as sort of like a quasi-level spreader, and what that does essentially is it mimics the existing overland flow condition. We don't want to concentrate runoff that you would see from like an end wall that you would see from like a surface basin. There is no proposed underground stormwater management volume retention system due to the reduction of impervious coverage. One was not required.
Okay. One last question from me. Our fire marshal recommended an additional hydrant to service this end of the street, your property in particular. I don't believe it was required, but the request was there. Would you consider putting one in? So I believe it's not part of this design. So I ask is, would you reconsider that decision?
That would be a question for our owner.
I'm not sure. Yeah, since it's in the kind of a remote, if I can, I'll speak for Bob DeStanislaw, the president of the applicants here. I don't know that it would necessarily be appropriate. Just if you go back to the aerial,
This one.
that one. I mean, you can see it's in an industrial yard, and it's right it abuts Goose Creek. I don't know that, from looking at it, I'm speaking a little out of turn, that one would be really necessary in that area, especially it's kind of a contained use.
Yes, let me just read the rationale that was presented for this. So the fire department, presumably meaning one of the fire companies that services this area, would appreciate an additional hydrant on this section of East Washington because the location of the current hydrant forces the fire department to block a section of Garfield Avenue, which would hinder the fire department access. However, since you're in the 400-foot range, it's not possible to make it a requirement. So that was the reason for the request. I don't think we've got a clear answer to that, as to whether it was something you would consider doing.
I would say that we've considered it, and it's just, I don't believe it's a requirement. So
It's not a requirement, you're right.
It's not a requirement. What is the cost associated with it?
I don't know, it's not highlighted at all.
Because we would consider it if it was reasonable.
Yeah.
And there are a couple bottles of quick, swiftly distilled whiskey.
You'll have to ask the other gentleman for that.
Wait, Chris, don't we know offhand how much, I mean, we talk about fire hydrants all the time.
We know what the rent is.
We know what the rent
Cost
is
to
per
install.
What's the rent?
The rent is $38
$38 a month.
No, it's 30. It's 32 and change, just under $33 a month.
30.
A month,
That's
yes.
the rent, monthly
But to
rent.
install it.
Can I install it and rent it back to the township?
What a businessman.
So, to answer, Ms. Gagne, to answer your question, unfortunately, I don't know the cost because they have to run a line from the main. So I do not know the cost off the top of my head. I just know what the rent is because we don't get wind, like for the hydrant that the board approved at Baywell and Goshen Road, we weren't getting charged any fees for running that because we were agreeing to pay the monthly rental fee. So I don't know if that would work the same way in a private development project.
Yeah, it would be a significant cost to install it.
Would it be a significant
Yeah,
cost?
what are you calling significant?
I mean, to run a line to open up a fire.
Well, you're running from wherever it's, the nearest one.
We would have to figure out exactly where we can connect into, tie it into, to make it part of our, I mean, that's going back to our engineer, but it's not a nominal cost, is the one way I would classify it.
We can certainly review it, and I'm
Yeah,
not positively disposed to do it.
I've asked you public questions, question in public meetings, so you can review it and get back and say you've reviewed the cost and it's prohibitive, or otherwise it's okay and you're
We're
willing
going
to
to
do it.
absolutely do it.
Thank you.
Provided it's a reasonable number.
Yes,
And we're going to get
understood.
taxes.
It's not a requirement, as I said, we're just asking you to consider it.
I would say that the applicant can review and report back to our town
To Brian,
engineer.
yes.
Yeah.
No, we would be very positively disposed
Thank
to
you.
do it. We're just putting the caveat that it's not too expensive.
Understood. Very good. Is
Better
there-
than putting a traffic light in Chester Springs.
No, we're not asking you to do that. Is there any other board member questions or?
I have one question. I'm familiar with the area because I worked at JD2 Environmental for several years, so it's part of that complex. And I know the flooding was so bad there, it was like an ocean.
Yeah.
I couldn't get my car anywhere near there. Do you have the same issue? And if yes, how do you plan on addressing that?
Well, the Corps of Engineers have addressed it, and there's been further visits from, yeah, so it's been better since the Army Corps of Engineers did their first remedy, but we've been told, and they recently visited to amend it to make it better yet. So we haven't now, keep in mind, the pieces of equipment that are going in there are incredibly expensive. So we're very mindful in watching that closely because we don't want that overflowing. So we're very optimistic that it's been marginally improved, but hopefully in the next modification that's done federally will make it even better.
Okay. All right, so risk is on you on that. Right?
It is, please.
Okay.
And by the way, that's one of the reasons for the other buildings, so we can move those to higher ground if something happens.
Yeah. All right, is there any final opportunity for questions from the board? Okay, then I will make a motion to approve resolution number 24, 2025, which grants preliminary and final subdivision and land development approval for the application at 820 East Washington Street. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Is there any public comments or questions on the motion? Steve?
Yeah, I assume you guys are going to sprinkler the building where the cars are?
No, because it's not a requirement.
Because if you were, then you probably could put a line from Barfield Avenue.
Right.
But, I mean, a $3 million piece of equipment, you're not going to sprinkle it? Just questioning, that's all.
Wait a minute. Is it, wait a minute, is the new building sprinkled?
I don't know about that, but to your point, there was a main extension that was installed with the industrial development some time ago and was further extended for the retrofit of the building that they are now operating on. So if necessary, there is water infrastructure in and immediately around the area.
Okay. But you're not, you decided not to sprinkle it?
We complied to whatever the standards were.
Okay.
Any other questions? Very good. We're ready to take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Thank you. What's your timeline, gentlemen, for the project, for the construction?
That's a very good question because so much of this is prefab. So I don't think it's going to move swiftly because nothing has recently. So realistically, it's probably going to be a 2-year project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now we're on to agenda item number 7, which is public hearing and possible adoption of ordinance number 4, 2025, amending Article 4B in the R3B Flexible Design Conservation District of the West Goshen Township zoning ordinance. And Chris, your name is down on this one.
Can we do it?
Chris?
Yeah, I'm happy to do it. This is a zoning amendment, so we did have to follow the procedures in the MPC to put this ordinance as a public hearing. So we did advertise tonight's hearing in the Daily Local on June 30th and July 7th. I sent a copy of the ordinance for public inspection to the Chester County Law Library and the Daily Local on June 11th. Your Planning Commission reviewed the ordinance at their June 10th meeting and recommended approval, and we sent the ordinance to the Chester County Planning Commission, and they issued a review letter of July 3rd. This is really something that Shelby, the code department, zoning officer, really brought to our attention as a result of this all deals with the R3B district, which is where the Greystone is, Woodlands Greystone. And just in terms of the area and bulk requirements that apply, given that there are really different types of lots, whether it's a single family detached dwelling on a lot that the owner owns the lot, a single family detached dwelling where they only own the footprint of their building and they don't own the land around them, the association does. Then there's attached dwellings, there's twins, so it really begged for different rules. What we discovered when we started this process, which took a while, was that NV Homes was providing to the township, in order to get a building permit, they were creating building permit plans that had sort of made up their own requirements. that weren't really reflective in the R3B area in bulk. And so what we tried to do is we did not want to create non-conforming conditions. And we also wanted to take a look at what's existing as far as area and bulk requirements for accessory structures in the R3 district. So those were sort of our guides. We were trying to revise the area and bulk specific to those various lots that I described, really focusing on, looking what's out there in terms of how far back the homes were built, what the setbacks were from property boundaries to the extent they are abutting another property boundary, or where they are setback to setback from another dwelling. So that's really what guided us here. And we felt from an organizational structure, the way to do this was to break it down based on how the dwelling is, whether it's you own the lot, you just own the building, it's a twin, it's an attached dwelling, that kind of thing. So it's a complete overhaul of that particular section that dealt with those setback standards. And I think, again, it's to really put a lot of thought into this, had a lot of meetings to make sure we weren't having unintended consequences, but trying to model and match maybe what was already built. And this has given Shelby the ability to issue permits for some accessory structures and things that property owners really wanted.
Great. Any questions from the board about the proposed ordinance change? Shelby, you're good with this. It's going to make your life better, right?
It makes my life a lot better.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just note that Shelby, Brian, and Kristen worked very hard on this over an extended period of time, so I commend them for everything that they did.
And we feel that the residents will feel this is a consistent and fair approach based on the type of dwelling unit. Very good. All right, so is the board member willing to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 4, 2025? Thank you.
Second that.
Thank you, John and Tina. Is there any public comment on the motion? All right, we're ready to take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. So now we'll move on to agenda item number 8, which is public hearing and possible adoption of ordinance number 5, 2025, amending chapter 57, Park and Recreation areas of the West Goshen Township Code of Ordinances. Krista.
This one's easier because it's not a zoning ordinance and doesn't have to comply with the MPC. The hearing requirements are just set forth in the second class code, so we just have to advertise it once, which we did in the Daily Local on July 7th. And then because I only do a summary ad, I always have to send the full ordinance for public inspection to the law library and the Daily Local. So I did that on July 2nd. This was something that Chris asked our office to do. I guess there was inconsistencies, or not inconsistencies, but currently your park regulations, which are in chapter 57, if somebody wants to utilize the township park and recreation area, your park department, your recreation department needs 2 weeks in advance, and that code section today only requires 72 hours. So it's really just making their lives easier to have a longer period of time to be able to review the application to utilize your parks. So giving it to 2 weeks. So it amends section 57-3, paragraph E1.
Thank you, Kristen. Any questions from the board? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 5, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nate. Is there any public comment or questions on this? I know we recently discussed this and it's very straightforward. So. Okay, I'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Agenda item number 9 is discussion and possible authorization to sell the Caterpillar 2C 5000 forklift in the West Goshen Township Public Works Department. And that is with Chris.
Mr. Chairman, before the board this evening's consideration to authorize the sale of the township's Caterpillar 2C 5000 forklift that's currently in the Public Works Department. As part of the township's 2025 budget, as well as the approved 10-year capital plan, this piece of equipment was slated for replacement. The previous item was placed in service in 2010, and the new forklift was received on June 26, 2025. So the current item is ready to be placed out for bid. If authorized for sale, this piece of equipment will be placed on municipal, as the township has done in the past. This will be added to the items that were previously authorized for sale by the board on June 17th. And in speaking with our lead mechanic, John Weddy, he's estimated the value anywhere from $7,250 to $10,550. So just like with any other sale authorized by the board, we would place it on municipal bid, and once the bidding closes, bring it back before the board for awarding.
Chris, you mentioned it's going to be added to the items previously authorized for sale. It doesn't mean it's going to have the same bid closure date though, right? Because that was a month ago.
We haven't, just because of scheduling and issues related to how busy our maintenance shop has been, we haven't advertised anything yet.
Okay.
The things that have been previously authorized, so this will just get incorporated into that.
Okay, so it's going to go up soon on municipal, all of them, including this.
Yes, I mean, I can just say that I spoke with John today, and I know that the guys, and he's really my lead on this, because a lot of the questions are technical.
Mm-hmm.
They are extremely busy right now, so I'm trying to let him calm down before we put everything together, so he's not too overwhelmed.
Okay. This may have happened when I missed the meeting, but have the payment for the new forklift, has that occurred yet on the bills list, do you know?
I know Mark's processed it, I don't know if it's occurred on the bill, but I can certainly check.
I'm just curious. I was curious what the price is of a new forklift.
I believe it, I can check what it would have budget for.
I'll make a motion to authorize to sell the category.
Thank you, Ashley. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nate. Is there any public comment or questions on the motion? All right, then we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, it passes 5-0. We'll keep going, Chris, and when you get the numbers, let us know.
Absolutely.
Okay, so next is reports for the month of June 2025, and we start with the police report presented by Chief Carroll. Good evening.
An amendment to the UCR report that we provided to you. Just some of the numbers had been shipped up itself. None of the numbers themselves changed, just the row they were in.
That's okay if I don't get it.
What's that?
That's okay if I don't get one, I'll share. No,
That's weird.
we'll share.
She's got 3 now.
See, I was talking and not thinking.
That's okay, I already saw the numbers.
All right, so the report for the police department for the month of June. I'll do the month of June first, and then we'll do the first half of the year. In June, we responded to 2,027 calls for service, 34 of which were alarms, and 3 of those alarms were found to be valid. We responded to 76 accidents, 18 of which were reportable accidents, and we drove a total of 16,875 miles. In the area of the alarms we responded to, only 2 fell in the highest violation level. So for being halfway through the year, that's not too bad. We performed 21 total assists to other departments for a total of about 12 hours, and we received 24 assists from other departments. We performed extra traffic enforcement on Glen Avenue, Westchester Pike, and West Warren Road, North Five Points Road, Owen Road, Grove Road, Taylor's Mill Road, South High Street, and Snyder Avenue. And along with our normal monthly trainings, our department completed their range qualifications. We recently purchased new firearms for everybody, so we had to do extra range qualifications this year. You'll see a pretty good bump in the overtime for that month because of all the training we had to do. Myself, Captain Dominio, Lieutenant Grandizio, and Sergeant Liss attended an FBI retrainer. Detective May attended State Police wiretap training. Sergeant Spigarelli and Officer Miles attended child and adolescent psychology training. Detective May attended an interview and interrogation school. Officers Manko and McGee attended Gracie Survival Tactics, a self-defense instructor school. Sergeant Spigarelli and Officer Myers attended the Pennsylvania State SRO conference. Officers De Leon, Hero, and Walsh attended a search and seizure training, and then myself and Captain Dominio attended the State Chiefs Conference. And as a little extra information, I spoke with Mr. Walsh earlier this week as to what type of training goes on. So I not only included the state conference, but also the FBI conference that we went to. So we had a presentation by Javier Pena and Steve Murphy. And if you've seen the Special Narcos on whatever channel it's on, those are the 2 detectives who are involved in the real-life investigation. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Darling gave us a presentation on, he was in the bunker during 9/11 in the White House, so he gave us lessons on what was going on. It was kind of a crisis leadership training. Mitch Javadi, who's a doctor and a human behavioralist specialist who trains not only elite military units, but also the police, gave us some information on human behavior and ways to improve it. We received training on the Tree of Life Synagogue shooting out in Pittsburgh a couple of years ago from the officers that are the FBI agents and U.S. attorneys that investigated it. We also received training from Pat Harvey in his office on Act 49, Act 59, bargaining and police discipline or inside discipline, and from another attorney, Paul Krebs, on it was titled 5 Things to Get Officers in Trouble, but he ended up going through 12 to 15 of his cases and the different things he pointed out that can help us in the future.
Chief, in terms of that event, obviously you got a chance to talk to and network with other chiefs from the state. Is there any trends or information, or we've all got that same problem and it's becoming a bigger problem? Is there any kind of lessons learned that you have from those kind of conversations?
So lots of discussion about hiring. Everybody's kind of going through the same thing. Some ideas floated, but no one really had any ideas that gave a real big bump. So we're still fighting our way through. Recently, there's been a site that encourages more people to apply. It's called App something, Officer App something. Westchester's used it, West Whiteland just used it. But recently, speaking to West Whiteland, they got more applications in, but the end result, once they whittled it down, was the same as generally number-wise as they'd had before. So we're still working on that. There was a lot of discussion about accreditation. I had a lot of one-on-one talk about that with different people that were heavily involved in it. I'm maintaining my opinion as it's been for years.
Can you repeat your opinion in a very, very short way?
Sure.
Why?
I think it benefits a lot of departments. I think West Goshen is on the level that the juice isn't worth the squeeze. The money we would spend just complying with the checks and everything that go along with it wouldn't improve us because we already do those things. Something we could do, it's just, it would be a money thing for a sticker on a car.
You already do those things, and are you sort of held accountable through, what is it, Lex? Or
Let's suppose we have policies that are of the level of accreditation.
Yeah.
And the checks and reviews we do of the videos, and as tightly as we watch things, I don't think we would see improvement in our department. But that's my opinion.
What kind of percent of police departments do you feel have sought accreditation, and is it continuing to rise or is it plateaued?
I don't know if it's plateaued. I don't have an answer to that. It's not 50% yet, and I don't know if it ever will be. I have no idea.
Okay. Any other questions for the chief on the monthly report? Okay, go into the semi-annual report.
All right. So for the first 6 months of this year, some of the differences or the highlights you're going to see in the difference between this year and last year. As far as accidents go, we responded to 96 accidents so far this year, but 124 this time in 2024. So less accidents, which I'd like to say is a good thing. Take credit for a little bit of it, but it's probably not us. Alarms have gone down in the area of 50, which is a significant percentage. Hopefully it will continue, but that's kind of a small window. I'm not ready to jump in yet as to why. And of the alarms that we've had, it seems like the first or second time alarms are a high numbering percentage. We're getting less 5th, 6th alarms, I think, than in years past. The biggest differences I'm seeing in the UCR data, the crime data, are scams. Our scams, especially this summer, have exploded. We're getting calls every day. We're trying to get the word out, but it's still shaking my head that these things are happening every day. So tell your friends, family, if someone's rushing you to pay them with a card over the phone, it's a scam. Don't do it. And if you're not sure, call us. Tell us what the information is, and we'll help evaluate it with you. I'd much rather have an evaluation before you spend the money than after.
Chief, that's on the fraud line. Am I looking at the right spot for that increase?
So if you look down to, I think it's on the second page. Yeah, under fraud, yeah. So 63 this year, 37 last year. But a lot of that 63 has been the last 2 to 3 months. It's really gotten heavy.
You know what's really been helpful is when the department will post, like on social media, like a snapshot of the text message. Because I know that there's like a lot of those DMP ones and like Easy Pass and the whole thing. And I saw it one day and it really helped people.
Okay.
Because they think they're limits. So I think it's helpful to share what it actually looks like.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then certainly if there's any questions about anything else in that first 6-month report, I'm happy to answer.
Questions from the board?
So you would say that the most prevalent crime within the township would be fraud or scams, that would be under that fraud
I
column.
mean, theft has always been our most prevalent crime, I think, but the level of scams and the level of people that are getting victimized by it, in my mind, has exploded.
Does it remain predominantly the elderly that are being the most victimly seen across the board?
Across the board, down to kids.
The question is then, what can be done about it from a police perspective?
We keep talking about it, we keep it on social media, we keep our SROs in school talking about it with the kids, but all we can do is keep talking about it.
No insights at the police chief's conference as to
No,
someone's
and a
dealt
lot
with
of
it
it's
differently.
because at the end game, most of these scams are occurring out of the country, and they're getting caught in that lack of enforcement area.
Yeah. Does anybody in attendance have, Steve, you have a question for the chief?
Yeah, nice. Chief, are you seeing any activity from the federal government in the township?
No.
Did they notify you ahead of time before?
They have notified us in the past, and we have not been notified recently, nor have we been told otherwise that it is occurring.
We're talking ICE activity, correct?
Yes.
What does sex offenses except 2 and 16 mean?
Hold on, what page?
Page 2.
Page 2 of the CR thing?
Yeah, the chart. Where it lists all the different types of offenses by year.
So when it says except 2 and 16, I think that's referring because on the first page, there's like the rape and assault, rape attempts is a sex offense, but it's a more serious offense. These would be lower level sex offenses. Because they're on part 2. Part 1, the first page is more serious offenses, part 2 is less serious.
Okay.
Other questions for the chief?
Yeah, I do. Could you talk about, we talked about this in prior meetings, but give us an update on the Blue Envelope program and maybe explain a little bit about what that is and what's being executed across.
Yeah, so Blue Envelope program, in essence, is a program where people with some kind of diminished capacity but still can drive can have an envelope to keep their cards and stuff in that they would need if they were stopped by the police. There's also some information on what to do if they're stopped by police. And because the envelope's blue, it indicates to an officer when he gets there that this is someone with some sort of a disability that they should take into account when speaking with them. So we began that program that's going to run countywide. They're making the envelopes today, so we don't have them yet, but I expect to have them in a week or two in distribution.
That'll be across the county.
Yes. Just curious, what service pistols you guys purchased? What pistol, what caliber? We stayed the same. The main difference was we wanted the new sighting, the optics that go on top, so we had to buy a new gun to accept that. So it's the same gun we used to have, except for it accepts the optics. What's the brand? Glock. Glock. 9mm? Yes.
Questions for the chief? Anyone else? All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, to your earlier question about the cost of the forklift.
Yeah.
That is actually on the bills list that is later on this evening.
Okay.
The amount budgeted was $45,000 and the bill for the forklift was $41,640.89.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Just for the board in its packet, and I believe it's on the public packet as well as the monthly reports from Good Fellowship Ambulance, Westchester Fire Department, and Goshen Fire. So if anyone has any questions on those, feel free to ask. All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 11, which is Board of Supervisors announcements for this evening. I'll start to my right. Ashley.
No announcements, but I do want to commend the Parks and Recreation Department. I attended one of their bus trips, and Ken does an excellent job, so does Tom. We have other bus trips coming up for the fall. I think the Yankees one is sold out. There's a one in December to New York. Just keep your eye out for bus trips. They're really great.
Thank you. John?
Sure. Monday, June the 23rd, I attended the retirement party for Andrea Testa, Fire Marshal. I just want to wish her well in her next phase of her life. She's done a great job for the township. Monday, June the 30th, I met with a resident that was concerned about stormwater erosion along Delaware Avenue. On Tuesday, July the 8th, attended the Land Planning Committee meeting, and after that, the Planning Commission meeting is at Fort Liza. On Thursday, July the 10th, met with the Streets Department foreman to survey the residents' complaints along Doe Drive. And on Tuesday, July the 15th, attended the monthly board liaison meeting with Chief Carroll, and also attended the hearing before, well, should I forget that. That completes my report.
Thank you, John. Over to Nate.
June 26th, I attended the Historic Commission meeting, and that's our.
Thank you, Nate. Tina?
Let's see, June 12th, I attended Coffee with a Cop, which was excellent, in the morning over by Levante, Artesian Exchange, actually. I guess we're going to do another one like in 6 months or so.
Probably less than that.
Less than that? Okay. On July 13th, I attended the concert at the community park, which was well attended and great band. 7:15, met with the chief. 7:17, we'll have our COG meeting this week. August 13th, we're going to have our next coalition meeting. One of the things that changed with that is we sent, or will be sending out a survey to all the other townships per the request of Steve Crum, that we get the other townships involved. And we discussed at our last coalition meeting that we would like to do that because the experts are at the table. We have all our fire chiefs and EMS and everybody at the table. If they have questions, this is our opportunity to ask it. So the survey went out.
It'll go out this week, and it was going to be. It'll go out this week. The letter that we had drafted will go out this week, and we were going to invite them to the meeting. The meeting that'll be scheduled in the fall.
In the fall, right. So we'll. I drafted it. Chris edited the letter, and once it goes out, we'll see what the interest is. So whether they want to participate or not, and it went out to basically all the municipalities around us. So we think it's a good thing to have more people at the table, more communication, more transparency. They can ask questions and see how it goes, see what their interest is. I know it's another meeting night, but it's an important night to communicate. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Tina. I just have announcements about the executive sessions the board has held. So we had one on July the 1st, and we discussed legal matters associated with right-to-know requests, and also some concerns about the audit of performance, which I believe the township manager will also talk to you this evening. And then today, prior to this meeting, we met with the township manager to discuss his performance against the annual objectives. So that's all I have in terms of announcement. Chris, over to you for item 12.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So I will start with the issue that you talked about related to the auditor. So we ran into an issue with delivering the final audit statements to the township. Our finance director reached out to them numerous times. As a result, we did not meet the June 30th deadline, and she notified the appropriate parties accordingly. Since then, we have gotten a draft statement. She's provided the comments back to our auditor in a very expeditious fashion. So I want to just make sure that we commend Christine for the job that she did in getting everything turned around as quickly as possible.
Duly noted. Thank you from the board.
We have given them, Christine and I both met with the head of the auditor. They have basically sold their state and local government practice to another company, which was a contributing factor into what we experienced. We explained to them the issues that we had with communication and how it was unacceptable, their lack of communication with us. Since then, they're going to give us a 10% discount for both the township and the sewer authority audit price, which would save about, I'm going to say between $4,000 and $5,000 combined for both of them. We have set the deadline for getting the final statements of July 31st. I'm trying to think of the remainder. And we're going to make sure that they document all of the conditions that were in the RFP that was approved in 2022 by the board, and the new engagement letter with the new firm.
Thank you, Chris.
I will say with that meeting, they were very apologetic for the issues that occurred, and they indicated that they're having these meetings with other municipal clients. All right. So in terms of other items, the township's monthly e-newsletter will be issued on July 18th, 2025. Our paving program is scheduled to begin on July 21st, weather permitting. It was supposed to begin on July 7th, but due to the weather that's occurred recently, it's been delayed. So we've updated the information on the township website, and there will be notification to the impacted property owners done by Alan Myers. That should be at the time that'll be at the time when everything gets started. The May 21st, 2025 meeting, the board discussed the allocation in the budget for the additional electric vehicle charging station for the administration parking lot, and asked us to look at a different style of charger through ChargePoint. So Mike Kakavo, our Assistant Public Works Director, evaluated both a 50 amp and 80 amp charging station, and we decided to utilize a 50 amp level 2 charging station for the application. This will keep us within budget with a total price of approximately $17,000 to $18,000. We will have to do some minor panel upgrades, and that includes all the panel upgrades, the charging station, and all the installation. So I just wanted to follow up with the board and close the loop on that one.
Thank you.
With our pension plan merger, we did receive the documents. So the board had approved a proposal, and we received the documents from our actuary. Those are going before the pension committee at their meeting on July 23rd, and then will be brought before the board. There will be an ordinance that will need to be authorized for advertisement and a restatement of the documents. But everything was received, I'm going to say about 2 weeks ago, and was sent on to the pension committee for review at their meeting on July 23rd. In terms of the Basin Road Stream Bank project that Brian has been discussing, we are working with the property owner on easements. Carroll Engineering will prepare the documentation for temporary construction easement for that project, and then we'll have the solicitor prepare the easement agreement, and that will be brought before the board for approval, as we've done with our other projects. In terms of the Rosedale Avenue sidewalk project, the final plans have been prepared by Carroll Engineering, and they were submitted to Brian to just to have put his eyes on them. I don't think I think those were sent to him right before he went on vacation, so he'll review those when he gets back, and then that project will be ready to be put out to bid.
Do you anticipate that'll be completed before the end of the year?
I'm hoping so. It should be a relatively, it's a 400 linear square foot section of sidewalk that's being installed, so as long as we don't run into any harsh temperatures, we should be okay. In terms of our American Rescue Plan Act project, at the June 17th meeting, Brian did show drone footage from the Government Services Center Basin project. So that project is substantially complete, and that was issued on June 13th. We did have one change order for the project that reduced the cost of it down $26,186. So the final construction cost for that project is going to be just over $318,000. And then in terms of the Fresh Meadows project, the work that was approved for Snyder Environmental has been completed, and the Public Works Department has installed over 1,000 linear feet of pipe in that development. I actually think they're up to close to 1,200 at this point.
How much more work is there to go, do you know?
Unfortunately, I can't answer that question. I will have to speak to Mark about that.
Okay.
The solar energy array was, the meter tie-in was completed on June 30th. We were having an issue with the internet connection for the inverters to begin collecting data. It's my understanding that the wiring and the Wi-Fi extender has been installed and completed, so that should go live tomorrow. It was done today. Mike Kakavo did do a walkthrough with our emergency service personnel at the recommendation of our insurance carrier, and we do have the solar array added to the township property insurance cost.
Yeah, I have written an update on that project for the e-news this week.
And then lastly, in terms of the North Hill stormwater improvements, we held our pre-construction meeting with the contractor on June 24th, and then we held an additional pre-construction meeting with the residents in the construction area on July 7th. And I'd say both were extremely positive, and the residents that were there from the North Hill community reaffirmed their appreciation for the township for this project. They've appointed a designated individual to act as the conduit between the community and the township in the event there are any questions or concerns. And that individual is going to send any comments to me and Brian, and then we will filter them out to the appropriate party. It's a gentleman named Nick. His last name starts with an A. I don't remember his last name off the top of my head. But he was at our meeting on July 7th. He seemed perfectly fine. He sent an email to me and Brian, so we have all his contact information. And like I said, we're going to act as the conduit to filter anything, because there could be some stuff that would go to Mark, there could be some stuff that would go to Carroll Engineering, or stuff that we can just address the two of us. So we wanted to make sure everything was streamlined as we go through this project. And then in terms of the start, they are looking at a beginning of construction either late August or early September.
What's determining that? Well, now, you've already had the pre-construction meeting with the contractor.
The ability to get their precast items, which are 6 to 8 week lead time.
Got it.
And I will also want to say the North Hills Association is letting us use the area by the lake as a laydown area for equipment. They're extremely accommodating with that. So it's probably going to be the early September timeframe, so as to not conflict with people being off, use of the lake and things of that nature.
Okay.
So, but they're very excited about this.
Good.
And that's everything I have.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions for Chris?
Yeah, I do. Westchester University Master Plan, can you give us an update on that?
We have an extension from the applicant to hold the hearing until November 30th of this year. Brian is looking at a potential neutral consultant to review the plan, and he plans to have that. We were going to discuss that tonight, but with Brian not being here, we're going to discuss that with the board at the August 5th meeting.
And the university's going to have meetings with residents in September.
Yes.
And that's going to be the university doing that?
Yes.
Is he formally requested an extension?
He's formally granted us.
He's granted
Granted,
it.
okay, not requested, granted.
Yep.
He gave us, the legal counsel for the university, Brian Nagel, gave us a letter about a week ago, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Last week, giving us an extension through November 30th.
Great.
Do you know if the residents have been given copies of the plan or have access to it?
I have filled one right to know request for it. It's a public record, so if someone...
Is it available?
It's a public record, so if someone files a right to know request, it would be subject to disclosure. I've only received one. I haven't, since the hearing hasn't been scheduled, I haven't uploaded anything to the township website, but it's a public record.
I'd put it on the website.
I can.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to the board,
I mean,
but
why
why
would-
not?
Yeah, like,
Yeah, just put it up
yeah,
there.
yeah.
If you want me to, I can.
It's just that. How big of a file?
Yeah, well, it's not a secret.
It's a large number of extension of, it's fairly extensive.
saw that file we got, it's like this.
You could just do part of it.
Yeah, I think so. But
I'll figure out
the
what.
parts that you,
You can put it on the class. Just put it on the class.
A lot of what I was reading was repetitive, too, in those documents. I mean, I started reading it and fell asleep reading it, so I don't know what the complete is.
What I would probably have to do is just set up individual links for each appendix. That's how, when I filled the one right to know request that I received, that's how I had to transmit it, because the files were just so big.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to post it.
Thank you.
See if you can have to do any more right to know requests.
I'll still get them, and I'll just send them a link.
Okay. Any other questions for Chris? Okay, thank you, Chris. We'll move on to our next agenda item, which is the report by the zoning officer, Shelby.
I have no significant updates or items to highlight this evening, other than what has been discussed.
Any questions for Shelby?
I just want to tell you that my colleague Warren Camp went to court today and said that Shelby was a wonderful witness and very well prepared, so I said I would expect nothing other than that from her, so.
Excellent. Well done, Shelby. Thank you. All right, so anyone else in the audience with questions for our zoning officer? No? All right, then we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is approval of the Board of Supervisors meeting minutes for June the 17th. I was not present at this meeting, so I will be abstaining from this, but if the board has any corrections or questions for Chris, please raise them now.
Yeah, I have just one correction. It's just a typo, Chris. It's on page 1. It's the last paragraph. And it states administrator asked about, it should be combining the administration and roads and sewer pension plans.
What did I write?
Combing.
Combing, okay.
It's just a text change. That's all I have.
Anyone else? Okay, is a board member willing to make the motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So make a motion. I'll second it.
Thank you. All right, any questions from the audience? All right, all those in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes 4-0 with myself abstaining. Next on the agenda is item number 15, which is approval of the Treasurer's Report dated June the 30th, 2025 for the General Fund, the Sewer Revenue Fund, the Waste and Recycling Fund, and the Capital Reserve Fund, and the bills to be paid from these funds. Does the board have any questions about the bills list or the Treasurer's Report? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the Treasurer's Report and the bills list to be paid. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Is there anyone in attendance with a question about the Treasurer's Report or the bills? All right, we're ready to take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. I will motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:34. Is there a second? Thank you, Ashley. All in favor of adjournment say aye. Aye. Thank you, everyone.
That's yours.
What was this? What is this?
Oh, the first item.